Hey, welcome. Today we are really diving deep into the mind of Elon Musk. Using a fascinating, wide-ranging conversation he had recently, we're going to unpack his entire blueprint for reality. Seriously, from the meaning of life all the way to a future where work is optional. So, let's get right into it. So we're kicking things off with this, what a bombshell prediction, right? Just try to imagine a world where in less than 20 years from now, having a job is something you choose to do, kind of like a hobby. It's such a radical thought. So how on earth does someone even get to that conclusion? To understand that, we've actually got to go all the way back to the beginning. You see, to really get inside Musk's vision for the future, you first have to understand the fundamental question that's driving him. And it all goes back to a question he got stuck on as a teenager, a question that really underpins everything he does today, from his social media platform all the way to SpaceX. Yep, it all starts right here, one of the biggest, oldest questions you can possibly ask. But for a young Elon Musk, this wasn't just some passing thought, It was a full-blown existential crisis that he felt he absolutely had to answer. And his big breakthrough didn't come from some dusty old philosophy book. No, it came from the sci-fi classic, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The big punchline in that book is that the answer to life, the universe, and everything is 42. But the problem is, no one knows what the actual question is. And Musk really took that to heart. He realized the real challenge isn't finding the answers, it's figuring out what are the right questions to even be asking in the first place. So if the whole point is to figure out the right questions, well then the mission kind of writes itself, doesn't it? We have to expand consciousness. This is the core directive for Musk. This idea that if we can increase humanity's collective awareness, we'll have a much better shot at actually understanding the universe. Okay, so that sounds pretty cosmic, right? Expanding consciousness. But how does that actually play out in the real world? Well, let's take a look at his vision for the social media platform X. For Musk, X isn't just another app you scroll through. He describes its whole purpose as creating this kind of global town square, a digital nervous system that literally acts as the collective consciousness of humanity. It's a tool designed to connect all of our minds together on a planetary scale. So this slide kind of breaks down the philosophical shift he wanted to make. He has stated that in his view, the old version of Twitter amplified what he calls a far-left ideology and was way too centered on a San Francisco worldview. So his stated goal for X is to create a more balanced and centrist platform, one that operates based on the laws of each country it's in, which he believes will better reflect our true global consciousness. So why is this collective thing so important? Well, he uses this really powerful analogy. A single person, no matter how brilliant they are, cannot build a spaceship. It's just not possible. You fundamentally need a huge collection of humans, all with specialized knowledge, to build a rocket. And he's applying that exact same logic to consciousness, arguing that a globally connected mind can figure out way more than any individual ever could. All right, so we've seen how communication fits into this whole expanding consciousness idea. So what's the next phase of the blueprint? Well, this is where it starts to sound like straight-up science fiction. A world completely transformed by AI and robotics, leading to what some people call the singularity. That's the point where technology just takes off, growing so fast that it changes human civilization in ways we can't even predict. And listen, this isn't some far-off, distant future fantasy. Musk predicts that in less than 20 years, and maybe, just maybe, as few as 10, AI is going to get so advanced that most human jobs will simply be unnecessary. This slide really puts that shift into perspective. For most of human history, we worked to survive, plain and simple. Right now, we're in the era of the 40-hour workweek. But the future Musk is predicting is a total paradigm shift. A world where work is a choice, something you do for fulfillment, like a hobby, not because you have to. And the economic side of this is just staggering. Think about it. If AI and robots can produce an abundance of pretty much everything, what is the point of money? In that kind of a post-scarcity future, Musk believes we'll be able to have any goods and services we can possibly imagine, which would make money as we know it totally irrelevant. So we've gone from work to money, and now we are going to the deepest, most mind-bending level of Musk's worldview, the very nature of reality itself, and his argument for why there's a pretty good chance we are all living in a computer simulation. His logic actually follows a really clear path. First, just think about how video games have evolved. In about 50 years, we went from Pong, literally 2 rectangles and a dot, to these incredibly photorealistic online worlds. Second, if you just assume that trend continues, you will eventually, inevitably, get to a point where games are completely indistinguishable from reality. And third, these games won't be empty. They'll be full of advanced AI characters that you can have conversations with that feel just as real as talking to another person. So, if a future with countless hyper-realistic simulations is pretty much a given, what are the odds that we, right here, right now, are in the one single original base reality? Statistically, he argues it's far, far more likely that we are living inside one of the billions of simulations that would have come after. It's a wild thought experiment that really pushes you to question everything. Okay, that was a pretty wild journey through collective consciousness, a post-work future, and the simulation hypothesis. So let's bring all of this back down to Earth. Because whether we're in base reality or not, what does this whole grand philosophy mean for those of us trying to create things, to build things right now? His advice is surprisingly direct. He basically says, look, just make useful products and services. Aim to be a net contributor to society. The idea is if you create true value, the money will just be a consequence. But, and this is a big one, you have to be prepared to grind super hard, and you have to accept that there is a very real, meaningful chance that you might fail. And really, it all just boils down to this. This is the core of it. The guiding principle is not about what you can extract from the world, but what you can contribute to it. The goal should always be to create more value for society than you consume. And that brings us to our final thought. We've just unpacked this incredible blueprint for reality, a reality where the ultimate mission, the grand objective, is to expand the scope and scale of human consciousness. So we'll leave you with this question to think about. If that really is the goal, what will your contribution